Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we know that it's just before lunch, so we're going to try and keep it quick. So, Navya, could you tell our audience about your work? You've picked up some really interesting projects that you focus on, and you've done a lot for women's empowerment. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you pick up these projects? Like if we talk about the recent one, the L'Oreal stand-up, could you tell us about that?
Yeah, firstly, thank you for having me. And I just bumped into a fellow IMA alumni, so that made me really happy. To talk about the work that we do, so Project Naveli focuses on 4 major pillars: education, healthcare, legal awareness, and entrepreneurship. We believe particularly that these are 4 pillars that will have not only a large impact in today's world of work, but in the next 20, 30 years, these are areas that will be impacted by forces like technology and AI, and therefore there's a lot of work that has to be done in order to, protect employment for women, protect, healthcare in the future for women. So really, there wasn't a specific reason behind why we picked these 4 pillars, but we've also felt that these were areas where women today in particular are very, very disadvantaged, or there are certain barriers that restrict them from, for example, getting into this field of entrepreneurship has always been a tough battle for many female founders, and that led to the creation of Entreprenari. Nyairi, which is a legal awareness project, came about because of, the recent incidents we see till today continuing regarding harassment and the safety of women in public spaces. So looking at what currently affects women and what will affect not just women but men as well in the future, these are really the 4 main areas that we felt a lot of work needed to be done.
What about, what made you feel that you align with stand-up? So what was it that you wanted to sort of, how do your visions sort of aligns? How does it align?
So to give some context on what Stand Up is, it's an initiative by L'Oreal Paris, and I have been working with them for the last 4 years now. Of course, everybody knows the more glamorous side of L'Oreal as a brand that sells beauty products, but they have been doing this initiative called Stand Up for the last 20-25 years, and have created a significant amount of impact in the space of street harassment and safety for women in public spaces. So when we initially started working together, this collaboration really came about because they had seen some of the work that I had done with safety of women in public spaces, and Stand Up, which is an initiative that encourages not just survivors of harassment but also bystanders in stepping in and helping create more safer communities and spaces for women. It is a 10-minute training that you can do online, which essentially walks you through different steps that we as bystanders or onlookers of certain forms of harassment can actually step in and help that person without putting ourselves in danger and without increasing the danger that that person is in already. So it aligned very strongly with the work that I'm doing at Project Naveli, and I think it's not just something that women face, men face forms of harassment as well, and I think it's a very forward-thinking initiative that tells us that instead of taking action once something is done, there's a lot that can be done to prevent it from happening in the first place. And I think that's really what we need, is if we all kind of take out just 10 minutes to do that training, we can definitely create a safer space for everyone.
If we were to talk about the impact of these, like Entreprenari or Project Naveli, tell us a little bit about, maybe you can share a success story.
So for us, and I think especially in the development sector, measuring impact isn't the same as, measuring the impact of, say, a company that's earning profits, right? Because we don't look at the people that we work with as numbers. Impact for me, would be making a difference in one person's life rather than, having covered lakhs and lakhs of women. And I think that's how we look at impact at Project Naveli. So, for example, I'll take Entreprenari, which is our community for female entrepreneurs. When we started out, it was a dream to kind of create an ecosystem where female founders felt supported from all aspects, whether that was funding, legal help, whether that was branding, marketing, and of course, I think the largest piece that women's female founders still struggle with is a platform to promote their products and businesses. So when we started out with Entreprenari, we had about 100 women in our community. All small scale entrepreneurs probably have teams of 2 or 3 people. Yeah. Today, we're very proud to say we have 30,000 in our community who are successfully running businesses, scaling businesses, and we do everything in our power to help promote it. And I think that's really something that has made us proud. It's taken us about 3.5, 4 years to reach that number. It might not seem like a large number compared to the number of women who run businesses, but for us, like I said, impact really is on a much deeper level than just counting numbers. It really has to be about the quality of impact and how what we're doing as an organization is genuinely impacting their life.
So you all also mentor these women. You align a mentor with them. Tell us about the mentorship part of.
So we bring on board a lot of CEOs and CXOs from the industry and across different industries. So we partner them with the women in our community to help them based on what their business is on. So whether that's an F&B business or financial services, whether it's retail, we'll partner them with a mentor who can guide them through their journey of being a founder, which I'm sure, as many people know, is not a very straightforward one. It is an uphill battle, and I think mentorship, especially for women, is a very precious thing, because I think it opens a lot of doors that sometimes aren't open for women, especially at a higher level. When you look at boardrooms or when you look at executive level positions, you still don't see the amount of representation that should exist. And I think having mentors who have walked that path and walked that journey is very important for women who are starting out, and especially who are running businesses.
Plus also, if a woman takes a break, to raise a child, and then if she comes back and joins the workforce, it's very difficult because they don't get the same position. So, when you have a mentor and you have a program like yours, it's really good, because if they want to do something of their own, they want to set up their own business, or they have mentors who can help them through this. So it's fantastic. You're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, and I think what you talked about is actually the main problem where we see a drop in the participation from women in the economy, is when they have to be brought back into the workforce.
Yeah.
We've done a lot, and I think, as a country, we've done a lot to improve the participation of women at an entry level. But when we look at moms coming back from maternity leave, is where you see the largest drop of women returning to work. So we also do help, women who've taken, say, 3 or 4 years off, to raise a child and want to re-enter the workforce.
Yeah.
I think that is really where we need a lot more systemic change in order to create environments that not only encourage women to come back to work, but also support them while they're at work with certain policies, for working mothers. And I think that's really where a lot more work needs to be done.
And also perhaps giving them that same position that they, when they left.
And I also largely disagree with a lot of, companies today who, have policies where they say we'll hire 40%, 50% representation of women, and largely tend to use it as a statistic or a tick box on their checklist of, diversity. But I don't look at that as, women are not just a statistic or a check on the box. I think they're very capable of deserving that position, and I think more needs to be done, not just from a policy point of view, bringing women in, but also from a recruitment point of view, right? That you're not just hiring them because you want to comply with the policies set by the government, but because they deserve that job and they deserve that position.
Yeah. So in terms of Entreprenari, and Project Naveli, where do you see it 2 years from now? What is the impact you're hoping, and what work do you see you're doing going forward?
I mean, a lot. I think we'd still definitely be continuing what we're doing, but something that we are emphasizing very strongly on is the impact of AI on employment in the future.
That's nice.
So we run a program called Nimaya, which focuses on preparing the next generation of women leaders for a world, and especially a world of work, where AI has a very large presence, more than it does today. And I think sometimes we severely underestimate the impact that that will have on jobs, on the way that we work. And I don't think enough is being done to prepare our workforce for that reality. So Nimaya is something that we have spent a lot of time in the last 1 year to create a curriculum that would train the next generation of India's workforce to survive that, because we don't want to be replaced by it. I also don't think that there would be a chance we would, but I think we need to equip ourselves with the tools to work alongside AI, to bring out and optimize the best that we can as individuals. And that is something that we hope to focus on in the next 2 years.
And this is something that's fairly recent. So, I mean, it would be wrong to ask, but how is it being received? Like, what are you seeing the impact of it? Again, I use the word impact, but.
So we work mainly with colleges because, second or third year students who will be entering the workforce. And I do think that the world of work today has drastically changed to what it used to be many years ago. AI is now increasingly playing a role in our daily lives, whether it's personal or in a professional capacity. And our curriculum basically talks about how and trains young women in how to work alongside AI in the office, in their personal life, and not be replaced by it moving forward. Because, as you know, one of the largest problems we face today, with one of the largest youth populations in the world, is unemployment. It's not that we don't have enough people, it's that it's unemployability. They don't have the right skills or the right tools that are required in today's way of working. So that's really what we focus on. Impact-wise, we've had a lot of success. We've had about 2,000 young girls placed in mid to higher level jobs in leading companies in India, and I think that's what we continue to hope to do, and also to continue spreading awareness around how important this form of training is and will be in the future.
That's great. I just had one question about the L'Oreal, since we are talking about it, the stand-up. In India we've done a lot in terms of safety and making spaces safer. What is your view? What more can be done? What do you think we should kind of focus on?
So I think before even coming to systemic change or policies or laws, all of which we do have today, I think the biggest change that we have brought about but can do a better job at is the cultural aspect of it, is the social aspect of it. I personally believe change begins at home. Until we don't have those conversations around consent, safety at home, that behavior will not be reflected when you're in a public space. So whether it's in schools, I think the education system can definitely implement certain conversations at a younger age for students around consent and harassment, both for men and women. I don't mean this only for women. It's something that men experience as well. And I think having those conversations at a younger age, will definitely see a different behavior outcome when they're, out in public spaces. Another thing I feel is, gender-sensitive planning. Cities aren't planned in the best way to, enable safety of women, and I think a lot more can be done there as well. Whether it's, we'll start with the basics of having CCTV cameras in more public spaces where you can actually, catch or prevent certain forms of harassment taking place. I think gender-sensitive training from the police force. I think a lot of education around how to handle certain situations. The stand-up program, talks about all of these things and how us as bystanders can help and do better, because a lot of times we feel that preventing harassment is just taking a video and putting it up online so that that situation is highlighted, but many times that's actually not beneficial to the survivor of that form of harassment, because you're essentially revealing the identity or revealing the situation that's happened. So this training actually takes you through different ways in which you can help, and I think that is the first step. And then, of course, the legal aspect of it comes into play. We do have laws that protect women from, especially survivors of harassment. But I think in terms of the turnaround time, that often takes very, very long, and the action and justice that is due, doesn't take place in the pace that it's supposed to. So I definitely think that we should start with a more cultural and social shift.
And the education will matter.
Definitely,
yeah. Perfect. So this was really good, and we've run out of time as well. But I'm going to ask you one last question. A book that has made a big impact on you, or you'd suggest that people read, definitely.
So a book that really changed my perspective on a lot and has influenced a lot of the work we do is Invisible Women by Caroline Perez. It talks about the gender bias in data and how a lot of the world around us is built in a particular way because women were not accounted for the research or data that went into planning, say, cities or certain curriculums or certain sports programs. So that book really opened my eyes around a lot that, can be done to improve the world around us for women.
No, this is good, and you're doing really good work, and especially I like the mentorship part very much, because I think it's really important when you have somebody stand by you and who can guide you a little bit, makes a world of a difference, especially to your career path. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.